Hi there. Yeah, this looks really odd now, doesn't it? I was just setting up to do a short video, and this caught my eye. So, a little history about this. Um, I purchased this guy. Yeah, I think it's a guy. I don't know. At a yard sale, my neighbor was selling it. And a little background: she likes to purchase things for resale. So she buys from thrift stores, she buys from estate sales. Sometimes she goes to auctions, and then she wants one particular thing, but it's in a whole box of other stuff, which I suspect is what happened here. I don't know. And actually, I didn't ask her the story behind it at the time, and I have resisted doing so since. I didn't know why this thing was so, oh, this guy was so compelling to me, but I just kept like being drawn to it, and I think it was $1. So I thought, well, I'll buy it. And I really wasn't sure why. Um, and I just kind of plopped it in a spot. In the living room. I know that also sounds really odd. And then I realized that it would be cool to try to pick up information from it. This is, I believe these things are called like some sort of yo-yo stitch. I sort of remember, I don't know how exactly I know this, but, and that making yo-yo dolls, which this would be one, was a thing that, it was mainly women that did this. So, so that is the history. I know zero else. Actually, I do know something. I live in the United States on the East Coast, so anything coming up in a thrift store, estate sale, or auction would likely be from some place on the East Coast of the United States, though I don't know this for sure. So I've had it for about, I'm going to say, a year and a half to 2 years. Every once in a while, I'll pick it up and see what impressions I can feel from it. And I thought, well, why don't I invite others to join in? Now, I realize that I'm the only one that can actually hold it, but, some people are just so gifted by visuals, and receiving information that way. So I'm inviting you to add to the story if you feel moved to do so. So now let me tell you what I have felt during this last year and a half to 2 years. One of the first impressions and it was actually quite strong, when I held it for the first time, I got a strong Nona feeling. I believe Nona is a term or a word used for grandmother in Italian. Correct me if I am wrong. I also got a picture of the kitchen and family room of a home. It was very 70s style, not my style at all. It was not good 70s. No. It was very, there's a lot of brown and it felt dark, not in energy, but in visual. So there was a kitchen which kind of opened to in the United States, it would be, I guess, termed as a family room or den. So not like the main living room, but the where family hangs, and in a more casual way. I also have got an image that there was a sliding glass door that would open up to a backyard or patio kind of thing. Um, Another picture I have is of really of maybe someone that was babysitting their. It felt more like grandchild. Possibly could have been great grandchild. But and it was there was just a image of a young girl, maybe 1 to 2, in what used to be a thing they called a playpen, which was really just it was just a rectangular, usually I think, space that was raised slightly, and the child could be put in and had sides, and it just let the child be able to see everything and interact with people, yet be in a safe space so that they didn't like escape, crawl away, all of that. So I remember seeing a little girl in that playpen, and yes. So I don't touch this doll, or this doll often. Every once in a while I'm inspired to pick it up. In more recent times I picked it up, and I immediately got the feeling, or the words St. Anthony's Festival pop to mind. I really couldn't get a whole lot more from that, but I just got a strong feeling. St. Anthony's Festival popped up, and I'm just telling you my impressions, and then I'll tell you what I kind of feel about all of those impressions. But so there's that. I do get the feeling that this person that created the doll, that her children would at this time be like in their mid to late 70s to early 80s. Got that feeling. And maybe even the little girl was not a grandchild, but a great-grandchild. And I had an impression today, and I picked it up. Now, this doesn't smell, honestly, like anything in particular. I mean, no, it doesn't. But when I picked it up, I immediately had the scent come to me of this old-fashioned perfume that was the solid perfume that, and gosh, there was a certain time, I'm a vintage clothing person. I have been for a long time, although the vintage clothing is less interesting these days. When I was buying it, the vintage clothing was like from the 40s and 50s, But anyway, that aside, it's that scent that if you opened an old purse, it was the scent that I think was really popular during one point in American history. I don't know about elsewhere in this world, but it was a certain kind of warm, sweet scent, and it was just a very familiar scent that I recall as a child, that women that were maybe grandmotherly age wore, and it was sense that if you open the purse and you could just smell it. So I got that scent today. Now, so those were pretty much the impressions that I've received so far, and my feeling or my thoughts about these impressions is that with the St. Anthony's Festival in particular, I feel like the person that created it was likely Catholic, and so it was maybe on a not a maybe some sort of committee within a Catholic church where they would make things to sell during fairs and festivals. That would actually be quite in line with this type of thing. I don't think I've been to a St. Anthony's Festival, but anyway, I also got the feeling that the person that made it was either not born here, but out in Europe, in Italy, or this person's parent was that, and so Italian would have been spoken in the home, and a lot of traditions that would hold in, a certain cultural way were very present. So, or very old world in some regard. I didn't feel like the home that I saw was necessarily the person that made this, that I think she possibly lived there. It felt more like maybe her daughter's home, where she was living at the time. And but as an active person, I think family dynamics have changed over time, and people don't always live. Sometimes I think it was more prevalent for families to stay under the same roof, or anyway, I don't know. Anyway, that's what I have with this doll, and I would love it if anyone has a visual impression on this person. Well, not person. YoYo Clown. There we go. I know this is odd.